Hi TJ, how are you?
Good on you, Savanam.
Excellent. You just called me a pseudonym. Can you tell the audiences what that is?
It's from Taekwondo. I met Savanam Ognian, or Coach Ognian, as you guys may know him, as a kid while doing Taekwondo. And Savanam is, how to explain it to somebody who is not familiar with martial arts or Taekwondo. It is how you call, it's like how you call or sir or doctor or it's
a title.
It's a title.
That's
easily said.
It's a title. It's a master instructor in Taekwondo.
Yes, but there's quite a bit of weight to it, because if you have to call somebody, or not have to call, if you call somebody Sabanam, it also means that there's a lot of respect, because to achieve the title as Sabanam, there's a lot of hard work and dedication and years of training that has to go into it to achieve that title.
TJ, can you give us your full name and surname, and can you tell us what sports do you do?
Full name and surname is Tiaan Victor Janse van Rensburg, and everybody knows me as TJ. Kind of bleeds into your question as well, because I got the nickname TJ from wrestling. What kind of sports do? I have done a lot of sports. I currently play rugby and have played rugby since I was able to hold a ball. And I did taekwondo, wrestling, athletics, and yeah, that's about it as a kid. Yeah.
Perfect. For the audiences that might be watching outside of South Africa, there's a big, massive culture when it comes to rugby, and
Yes.
That's like a no-brainer. You go to school here, or your parents are fans or even fanatical about rugby. They want their children to play rugby, so it's cultural to play rugby and to take it to the next level if the child is talented and able to. But what I want to dig into more is the other sports that you played. So wrestling, taekwondo, and track sports. Can you please tell us more about those?
Wrestling, I started wrestling when I was 4 years old. Like I said, I've played rugby since I could hold a ball. I still wrestle here and there if I get the opportunity, but more competitive up until 13. I've done taekwondo. I started off with karate, and then I moved into taekwondo. I only did karate for 1 year, and then when I was 7 years old, started taekwondo, and I did taekwondo till I was 13 years old. And if I get the opportunity, I always go train. And track sports, I did hurdles, long distance, 100-meter sprints, and 400-meter hurdles. And not the 100-meter hurdles. I never had the facilities for the height for that. But yes.
So here's an interesting question. We have culture here in South Africa with rugby, we covered that. And with wrestling, a lot of people go for wrestling because that complements the
Yes.
rugby, and a lot of coaches go, skill coaches go, like try wrestling or complement it. Obviously, there's a culture when it comes to track and field sports. Why Taekwondo? It's rather obscure for South Africans, obviously taking the country in concern. Outside of South Africa, there are great many countries that is very well known and popular. But why Taekwondo specifically?
I believe there's a few answers to that question. Like I mentioned before, I did karate um, for a year before I started taekwondo. And the reason why I wanted to start karate was because of Bruce Lee. I saw a lot of videos of him on YouTube, and I've always wanted to be able to kick and fight like him. And I ended up moving to taekwondo because of the Olympic fighting style. I saw, I can't remember what Olympics it was where my father saw it, but it was a very impressive fight that we watched, and decided to move to taekwondo. And since then, I think I'm actually also very thankful for what I've learned from taekwondo, the discipline aspects of it, the strength in your legs. I get I think a lot of my mobility and flexibility is there because of taekwondo. Because in wrestling and rugby, you don't stretch, or you stretch and you move a lot, but in taekwondo, you open up your hips and jaw.
Perfect. Thank you, TJ. Here's an interesting question. You and I go back a long way, almost
Yeah.
20 years now. I started off as your skill coach in Taekwondo, and then we transitioned to strength and conditioning. We did a lot of also prehab, rehab, some medical aspect of training, and then we went into um, specifically training for the sports that you do. And specifically when it comes to sports that you do, was I able to change over the years and deliver on the changes and requirements that you've had for those sports over the years?
Yes, definitely. To start off as a kid, I started with Coach Ognian, um, to strengthen the smaller muscles and to work on flexibility, because I was a very stiff kid. And I was playing rugby at the time, and that was my main focus. So a lot of those exercises that we did were foundational strengthening exercises for those core muscles that help with injury prevention. And with taekwondo, I needed the flexibility to be able to kick to my head. When I was training religiously with Coach Ognian, I was able to kick above my head. Um, and now today, where in the recent past years, it's been on and off because I've been studying and working and playing rugby in America. So each time I've came back, I've always made sure to visit Coach Ognian, and he helps me strengthen and work on everything I feel there's a need to work on, and kind of that I want to work on, and stuff I want to do, like calisthenic stuff. But also every time I have approached Coach Ognian with a goal or a new sport that I was taking on, or something that I injured in rugby or and needed help with, he's always been able to adjust those exercises to make sure that my body is always good to go, strong to handle powerful collisions, and yeah.
Thank you, TJ. Over the years, I've asked you many, many questions, challenging questions when it comes to your training and sports. And I think when I address these questions with every and each client of mine, the idea behind it is that I inspire and encourage this introspect and search within to get the person to start thinking, why am I doing this? How am I getting from A to B to C? What is the thought processes? And to have a clear picture of what you want to achieve. Yes, we have this goal that we set up. I want to do this, that, but there are so many steps along the journey. Do you think that the questions that I've raised, or the questions that challenged you, have helped you just as much in a verbal, intellectual, and mindful way of observing your training as much as the physical way?
I would say yes. First of all, I've since I started training with Coach Ognian, when I started off, I wasn't always aware of why certain stretches or why certain strength exercises were needed or important, and why you had to do certain warm-ups, etc. And I've been taught, and now I am always making sure that I do the right exercises, because I genuinely feel the difference when I do the exercises that I learned from Coach Ognian, and I'm able to actually help out some of my friends if they're struggling with something, or if I see something's going on with their form and that's causing them to experience XYZ. I'm able to at least have a conversation with them about the subject. I might not know the scientific or remember the scientific words for everything, but I'm able to understand and be knowledgeable about your mechanics, your body mechanics, and why it is important to do certain exercises to achieve certain goals, or certain Barkenpinter goals.
We have a little bit of Afrikaans there.
Yes.
We can translate that in the subtitles. Thank you, TJ. I got a couple of more questions for you. When you studied, please remind me, University, Arkansas State University.
Yes, Arkansas State University.
Thank you. Correct order. You mentioned that you've had quite a few of your rugby buddies that trained just as much throughout their whole life, but there was a lack of understanding with the little exercises. We call them little, but they're the base building blocks of injury prevention and getting the most out of your sporting performance. Hi everyone, our apologies. We had some technical challenges and we lost the audio. On the upside, we are excited to announce that we will have a follow-up interview with TJ. We will keep you posted on a date. And please remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you soon.